Welcome, everybody, to FragranceScopes for Taurus season with the amazing Diane Crecca. Thank you, Diane, again for joining me today to discuss Taurus season scents.
Yes, my pleasure.
I'm really excited to have you because you were obviously you're in Aries and you helped with the last FragranceScopes that we did when the sun was in Aries, but now the sun is in Taurus, and this is really cool because you have a lot of Taurus in your chart. So now I get to pick your brain about the Taurus energy of the season, because I think we're going to need a little bit of help with it. We had a little bit of a rough start to Taurus in 2025.
Okay.
A little bit of a rough start, but maybe you'll be able to help us through it, because it's been quite a ride so far, but I expect things are going to get easier.
Good. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I think they will. So today, welcome everybody. We're going to talk about best fragrances for Taurus season. You're going to learn how Taurus energy enhances stability, sensuality, and self-worth. You'll learn about the metaphysical properties of suggested Taurus fragrances. We're going to talk about how you can use fragrance to align with Taurus's grounding, comforting, and luxurious energy. Doesn't that sound nice?
Sounds wonderful.
Grounding, comforting, and luxurious. Sign me up. And we're also going to talk about how you can find fragrances that embody these qualities using Perfumist.fr. If you go onto this site, you can go onto it via your phone on the App Store or Google Play, and you can pop in any note that we discussed today, and you can find out some fragrances that you might really like. And also, if you're really into this, you can get a fragrance scope consultation with Diane and myself, and we'll hook you up with some great fragrances, give you suggestions based on your goals. So additionally, what we're going to do by the end of this, you're going to actually have the knowledge to select fragrances that resonate with Taurus energy to enhance your sense of comfort, confidence, and grounded pleasure. What could be better than, what is it again? It's comfort, confidence, and grounded pleasure. Yeah, I mean, with all the Taurus that you have in your chart, Diane, confidence, comfort, that's like the name of your game, I'm guessing, with that really strong Taurus.
Yeah, I think the confidence part is for sure 100%. Comfort, yes and no. I go in and out of that, depending on, believe it or not, the weather, relationships, what's going on at work, etc. So that kind of, back and forth, but definitely the other parts of it I think are good. I guess because I'm close to Taurus. Is that why have so much Taurus in me, or does it have nothing to do with that?
No, I mean, the thing is that there's no such thing like the cusp thing is actually a misnomer. You're either in Aries or you're not. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's very scientific. However, if the new moon before your birth was in Pisces, it wasn't, I'm pretty sure, because you're further down the line in Aries. But some Aries have, say somebody was born on the 25th of March. The new moon before their birth was probably in the sign of Pisces. Now that makes Horus of a different color. Because Aries that have the new moon in Pisces before their birth are much, much different than Aries who have the new moon in Aries before their birth. The new moon in Aries people are much more Aries. So essentially, it has nothing to do with being close to Taurus. For you, it's a matter of your moon sign and your Jupiter, I'm pretty sure, are both in the sign of Taurus.
No, I see.
So the moon sign is really, I mean, I would say almost as important, and in some instances, especially depending on the chart, as important as the sun sign, because the moon is your instinctual reactions. It's like your familiarity. It's what comes out when people who know you, or when you're tired, or when we're drinking. It's that vulnerable part of you. And I think it's almost like your heart, the Taurus, the moon sign, right? So you might identify more with Taurus than Aries, or it might be really depending on the day.
Yeah. Well, I think both my parents were Taurus, and they were born on the same day.
Oh.
Different years, but on the same day. So, and I have some very close friends that are Taurus. And I seem to get along pretty well with them. So maybe that's because I'm part, Taurus myself, I guess I could say, right?
I think so, probably. Yeah. But also, to your point, I had there are some astrologers that will ask like what your parents' birthdays are, because that I think has a big difference. Like I know a lot of fire signs actually who have earth sign parents, and that does make them much more grounded. So I think that the parent, like I have both fire sign parents, so that I think helps me to become more fiery, just because that's your context. So I think that that's really important. That also might be why you perhaps identify more with that Taurus energy, because Taurus doesn't, and it's about the senses. It's anything you take in. It has to do with like smells, right? And like even food. And Taurus is like, I'll tell you, as soon as the sun entered Taurus, I was really good at like keeping on my diet, just very much like boom, 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 like hitting my marks, getting my macros in. And as soon as the sun entered Taurus, it's like, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, what I want.
Yeah.
Screw the calorie counting. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I think Taurus is very like indulgent. It's very, you know, it and the shift from Aries to Taurus was I think really tough this week, just because of the aspects this week. But with Aries, like you have all this extra energy. You have this like get up and go. And with the Taurus, it almost is like walking through quicksand. Like everything just seems slower.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I see. Yeah, I agree.
Which is good. I mean, we're supposed to stop and smell the flowers under Taurus season. I get it. But if you're used to working at such a cliff and then you have to like stop, it is an adjustment period. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm trying to do that right now because I'm going so fast that I'm misreading emails. I think I read them. I forget, like when you try to do too much, you do nothing,
Yeah.
So I got to kind of take a step back. I think that's part of my
I think
problem.
we all do. I think we could have gotten away with that more under the Aries sun, but now that the sun is in Taurus, because the thing is that you start the stuff when the sun is in Aries, right? You start it has all that fire behind it. Even when the moon is in Aries is a great time to start new things. And then when the Taurus comes in, it's a matter of you fortify it, you nurture it, or you finish it off, So it's more about like that sense of grounding and that sense of stability, even though it sounds like you and I both are more into like getting things done. And we sort of take for granted that the stability is going to come with that, with the action.
Right. Yeah. Okay. We both got to take a step back and chill a little. Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah. I mean, I do this stuff and I still find myself being like really impatient. Like, why is this taking forever? Everything's taking forever. And I mean, it's not like I'm not working hard. It's just, I feel like
running in place for me.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll work with it. We'll work with the energy. Taurus energy is great. I mean, it's different. You need that Taurus to sustain the Aries stuff that we put into effect. So Taurus nurtures growth through stability and self-worth by embracing comfort, sensuality, and an appreciation for life's simple pleasures. I mean, but as an Aries, Diane, with a lot of Taurus in your chart, you're able to like take time out and stop and enjoy the finer things in life. You're not always go, correct?
Right. I do try to take, it's funny, in the summer, I do it more. I'm more relaxed in the summer than in the winter.
Yeah.
Because I feel, if I'm sitting home during the day, I should be doing something. Like I feel very guilty about not doing something all day long. Like I have, don't turn the television on during the day. Don't do this, don't do that. But in the summer, I'll go to the beach. I need to relax. I need to hear the ocean. I need to smell it. And it's just, it's just so restorative for me. I have no problem or no guilt about laying in the sun for a few hours with my little, shaded hood on and a hat, of course. But it's just so restorative, the ocean and the beach. So I'll do that for sure. I can't wait, actually.
Me too. God, I can't wait. We had like an 80-degree day. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. And I was, and here it's perfect in LA because there's no humidity.
Nice.
So it's so nice. I think we had it for like 2 days. And then since it's been in like the 60s, it's gray, it's cloudy and cool. I mean, it's even in LA when the weather's bad, it's good. But still, you had those few 80-degree days. But I think you're right. Between the sunshine and the ocean, it's very healing and very therapeutic.
Yeah, I've been going down to the beach and doing a meditation sometimes during the day. that helps a lot, even if it's just for 5 minutes, just kind of, getting my sanity back.
Yeah.
So it's good.
At nighttime, after you go to the beach, do you ever feel like the waves are with you? Like you
Yes, for sure.
Isn't that interesting? I didn't know if it was just me, but whenever I go to the beach, like I always feel like afterwards I'll be lying in bed and I'll be like, I feel like ocean inside me. Do you know what I mean? You feel like what it felt like when you were in front of it.
Yeah. It's great. I just love it. So
it's so restorative.
Yeah.
It's great. Well, summer will be here before we know it. It'll happen.
Okay.
It's going to happen. So during this period, April 19th to May 20th, Taurus season, it's a time to embrace stability by grounding yourself in comfort, cultivating self-worth, and savoring life's pleasures as a path to growth. So there we have it. We got to just enjoy the moment, take time out, not be as rambunctious, I guess.
Yeah, be good to yourself.
Yeah, I think that's really key, because the better you are to yourself, I think that increases your self-worth, and that is what Taurus is all about. Taurus is all about self-worth. Also, actually, Taurus is all about throat chakra and music. You're really into music.
Yeah,
right?
So, yes, absolutely.
You like listening, or do you sing, or do you dance?
Oh, God, if I sang, they'd come and arrest me probably. I mean, I'll sing if I'm alone, because I do not have a good voice. But like if I go to the gym, I've got to have music on the whole time I'm at the gym. Yeah. No matter, it helps me to get on the machines and, work harder. When I walk my dog, I try to listen to music sometimes if I'm not listening to a book or something. But I've got to have that in my ears, whenever I can. And
me too.
I've got to have the Sonos on all day, Yeah. So
I don't know how people exercise. Like if I'm with a friend, I don't have headphones on, but I can't run without music. Like, I just won't be able to. But as soon as I get some music on,
it absolutely helps for sure. Yeah,
really, really helps. So music is great during this time too, and it's a sensual pleasure.
Yeah.
So Taurus, just more information about Taurus. It represents stability and self-worth, grounding yourself in what truly matters, embracing routines, and finding security in your values, and this building of confidence from within. Taurus is pretty introverted. I mean, you have to look at the whole chart. There are plenty of Tauruses that are very extroverted, but they're a feminine sign, and it's very much about what's going on in the internal landscape, which makes sense because they rule anything that you take in, like smells and food. And sensuality and comfort. It's about connecting with the world through your senses: touch, scent, taste, and beauty, nurturing yourself and others with simple pleasures and moments of luxury. Are you into cashmere, like fabrics and stuff?
Oh,
like
God, yes.
Yes.
Love it. Oh, yeah. Love cashmere. Yeah. In the winter, I just adore. I just wear it as much as I can. It's just, why? Because it's light, but yet it's warm. Yeah, it's not like a heavy wool. And I really, I take very good care of my cashmere. I wash it a certain way and put it away a certain way so it doesn't get moths, in the winter. But it's worth the money, I think.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And isn't there a scent, though, cashmere, or am I wrong?
There was a scent called cashmere, and I believe Donna Karan did it. And it was a very creamy fragrance. I don't know if it's still available. I'd have to look. It's old. It's an old fragrance, but it was very creamy and rich. I feel like it was just, like scrumptious,
So it was an actual a specific fragrance. It's not like a note cashmere. Oh,
not really. No, there was a fragrance called cashmere, but they don't usually use it to describe a fragrance per se, the way they would use other adjectives.
I see. I see. They should come up with one for men. That would be great in wintertime with like cashmere sweaters and your cashmere fragrance.
Yeah.
Well, I'm guessing it would have like a vanilla thing to it, which we're going to talk about.
It does have a little gourmandy note. Yes. Yes. Which we're going to talk about.
Awesome. Yeah, cashmere is great. And what good news I have, Mercury, Venus, and Mars are all direct. So these are the personal planets. They're the ones that affect us most. So now it's going to be easier to clarify what truly brings us comfort and value. And you're also going to find it more natural to attract the stability, abundance, and pleasure that you desire. So we had these, we had eclipse season throughout all of March that was like jostling things around. Mercury was retrograde, Venus was retrograde, Mars finally went direct. So do you feel like, even though it's been a little bit of a rough start, that, now it's a matter of like, okay, we can move on now? Like, do you sense a feeling of like forward momentum nowadays, or are we not there yet?
I think a lot of my problems that I had, to address, some of them have finally have resolution, so that I've kind of checked that box and put that away. I think I mentioned I had a problem with getting my license and the real ID and all that, and had to go there in person, and then I got a ticket, and it just goes on and on and on. But some of these things are now resolving themselves, so I'm feeling a little bit less, crazed about that. So I'm kind of can't wait to get to the finish line of May 1st. I just feel like that in my mind, things will get better then.
They will. They will, for sure. Yeah, I think especially even like the tail end of April is pretty intense. We have these really contentious aspects. So once we get past that, I think that May is going to be much better, much better than it has been. So we're nearing that stage of completion, and we're going to also talk about how we can use the Taurus new moon cycle. Now it's going to be from April 27th to May 12th to ground yourself in what you value and to savor life's simple pleasures. Stop and smell the flowers, connect to your senses, and embrace the beauty and comfort all around you. So we have this new moon that is on the 27th. And I think that's gonna usher in a whole bunch of new energy. I think the most important thing about the new moon is that Taurus rules values, and we had Uranus, which is the planet of change. It still is in Taurus, and it's been there for the past like several years. And then we've had these eclipses, and we've had Mercury retrograde, and Venus retrograde, and Mars retrograde. So I feel like for a lot of us, our values have changed. Like what historically we felt was really, really high priority, now we're having to like take a step back and be like, well, does this matter to me, or am I just being a creature of habit? Am I doing this because I'm used to doing it, or am I doing it because it still has heart and meaning?
Right. Yeah. That's a hard question to answer, I think.
Right?
Yeah. Very hard. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think we all need to like check in with ourselves, and that's the good thing, because with the Aries, it's not, you can't like, it's just not easy to stop and be like, okay, well, what am I doing? Aries just wants to do it. I don't care what I'm doing. I'm just doing it now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's this irrepressible energy, which is great. But with the Taurus energy now, especially now that we're having to like slow down, I think that it's important to even like just like sketch out, like at this, bless you, at this stage of my life, like what do I really care about, and what do I want to build?
Mm-hmm.
That's key. Like, what do we want to build under the Taurus energy?
Hard question to answer.
Right? Yeah. It
might have a lot of different answers depending on the day or what's going on in your life,
Exactly. Yeah, sure. But this new moon is going to be great. And we'll talk about some real cool fragrances you can use for it. So the ones we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about rose, and then we're going to talk about tuberose. Am I saying that right, Diane?
Tuberose, correct. Yeah.
Tuberose. And then one of my favorites, vanilla.
Of course.
That'll be great. So let's first talk about rose, Diane. What can you tell us about?
Well, I mean, rose is having a rebirth. I will tell you that because rose, goes back centuries. It was one of the first flowers that people realized they could use for perfume. But it has kind of come around again, and made it just like cherry has had a rebirth. Rose also has had a rebirth. So you're going to see lots and lots of fragrances with rose in them in the stores. So just doing some research, they consider this the king of the flowers. It's the king of flowers. It has a lemony freshness. And then it has a lot of different nuances because it has powder in it. It has some woodiness. Rose has a lot of wood. If you smell a rose, you can and think about wood, you'll smell it. It has some fruitiness in it. Very clean, feminine, and intensely romantic. Nothing is like, a dozen red roses sending it represents romance in your head. But it's second to vanilla. Rose is the most attractive to a man.
Fascinating.
Vanilla is number one, but vanilla is, of course, the winner for sure. You want to attract a guy, and you don't have any perfume, go in and put some vanilla extract in from your spice cabinet, and that might do the trick. But rose, yes, roses. Men love rose. Maybe that's why they like sending it. I don't know, but it has a lot of versatility. It's a great flower,
and it's classic.
Classic for sure. And as I said, very, very on trend right now.
Yeah. So what do you think about for men? I think they should come up with one. They probably have rose with leather for men. What do you think of that? Think that could work or no?
I think you could do it. I think, or adding a little patchouli maybe to it. Okay. Rose, by itself is very feminine.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You'd have to add, sandalwood, patchouli, maybe musk.
Yeah.
Throwing some musk in there, but I think there's a lot of potential for that, so if there's any perfumers out there that we've just given them $1 million idea.
Yeah. I think so. I love the idea of just even maybe like a black rose type thing. Maybe there's like a darker fragrance that would work well with rose for men. I don't know.
Well, listen, you could spin it any way you want. You can, if you say there's rose in it, there could be one drop and the rest could be musk, and say, oh yes, I smell the rose,
Right.
Sometimes it's a mental thing, but in general, it is considered a feminine note. So you have to really kind of doctor it up with some of those masculine notes. Yeah,
definitely. You don't want to get, for sure.
Yeah.
So in terms of rose, other things that are cool about rose, it's cherished for its ability to open the heart chakra. Isn't that nice?
Oh, that's very nice.
So if you're going through something, or you're either mourning somebody from the past or getting ready to fall in love again, rose would be great for that. It's good for attracting love and fostering emotional healing.
Mm-hmm.
And it amplifies self-worth, invites compassion, and encourages deep, harmonious connections. That's perfect.
Yeah. Absolutely. It all goes together. It's always amazing how this all makes sense,
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
It also supports this is great. Inner peace. Mm-hmm. It inspires creativity. Ooh, and it enhances the beauty of daily rituals.
Mm-hmm.
So you can maybe add, I think that there is something associated with beauty. That might be one of the metaphysical meanings of rose, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Some people steep them.
Oh, they do?
Steep roses. Yeah. It's like a steaming distillation kind of thing. And if you steep roses, it gives them a more, a deeper smell. The way I could explain it is it kind of permeates the whole room when you steep roses, the rose petals and things of that nature. And you can find steeped rose sometimes in upscale air fresheners and things like that.
And they actually call it steeped rose.
Steeped rose, yeah.
And that means it must smell differently than regular rose.
It's a little more assertive, I would say, a little more intense. How is that? Yeah.
I like that a lot. I have a question for you. So how there's roses of different colors. You have yellow roses. They all have different meanings. I believe that yellow rose is about friendship, for instance. But my question to you is, does a yellow rose smell different than a red rose or a pink rose, do you think?
I would say no. I think maybe the red is a little stronger, the note. Yeah. Again, it would depend, but a rose by any other name still smells sweet, right? So a rose is a rose, and I think that, again, when you go in to smell it, in your head, maybe because it's red, you're going to smell it a little stronger than you would if it was a yellow rose. I think, your head has something to do with that. But roses all smell the same, pretty much.
I figured. I was just curious.
Yeah.
That was interesting. So the element that's associated with rose, it also can be associated with earth or air, actually, but water is predominantly what they say is associated with it because it embodies emotional depth, intuition, and the gentle flow of affection, nurturing bonds and soothing the spirit. So I feel like it is it's one of those things that can calm you down, Rose.
Well, I mean, they use rose. They use in a lot of lotions and creams as well,
Oh,
and
that
that's
makes
supposed to have some, healing power in your head. If you have rose, you put it on, and it kind of calms you down, and hopefully it'll help your rash or whatever. But they use a lot of rose in skin products too,
oh,
glycerin waters and things like that. Hmm.
that makes sense. And it's very calming, very
Yeah,
soothing.
exactly.
And Aphrodite is associated with Rose, the goddess of love and beauty. No surprise there.
Hmm.
Aphrodite embodies the romantic, enchanting, and heart-opening nature of Rose, inspiring both love for self and others. And I'm guessing, Diane, that it's probably the most popular flower.
Has to be. I mean,
It
who
has
doesn't know what a rose smells like? Everyone.
everyone.
Whereas if you ask people what frangipani smells like or something of that nature, people may not know.
Mhm.
But a rose, everybody knows what rose smells like, you know. And what's funny is that you could say, oh, I don't like roses, but yet if you have it in certain products and it's used at a certain level, sometimes people don't realize it's rose. They just know it as something very kind of sweet and citrusy or whatever. So again, like I said, with rose, you can mix it. It's very versatile. It can be mixed with other nuances of scent, and it kind of gives off something a little lighter or a little more intense, depending.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to mix some of I have this leather fragrance, and I do have like I think a bottle of rose stuff. I'm gonna experiment. I might
Try
not
it.
wear it, but I'm
Okay.
gonna experiment, and I'll
All
report
right.
back. I'll
Okay.
report
Please
back.
do. All right.
We also have this other fragrance. It's not rose, but it's called tuberose, and
Tuberose. Yeah.
I've never heard of it before. And you say it? How do you say it again, Diane?
Tuberose.
Tuberose.
Tuberose. It's a white flower. I think you had the picture there.
Mhm.
But in doing my research on this, I something that I didn't know myself, but they said the flower buds are gathered and collected by hand, and then they're extracted with a solvent, so it creates a tuberose nuance. Um, and so what I loved about this was it says it was forbidden for unmarried women to go walking into tuberose gardens. The flower is a night blooming plant, and its smell was said to be narcotic and could bewitch men with its erotic nuances. The
Wow.
flower has a unique personality, and it brings strong signature to any fragrance. So has a lot of volume and creaminess, and it's very, I think it's very special. But as I said, it was forbidden for unmarried women to walk into tuberose gardens. So, um, but and
Because
because it's a night blooming flower, I think that also brings a little mystery to it as well.
sure, they were forbidden to walk through tuberose gardens because what they would get more sexual, or
Yeah,
they
yeah, it was a very erotic thing, and so if you were unmarried, you could do that, and so
no.
you weren't allowed. But this is, going back a few hundred years, so um, but it's very, very feminine, very opulent. I think it's a very interesting flower, and very petally effect. People can wear them like in rituals. They make flower arrangements with these. It's a very pretty flower.
Now, if how would you differentiate it between actual rose, or just because it
Oh,
sounds similar to?
completely different.
Oh, it
Completely
is.
different.
Okay.
Yeah, tuberose is much more delicate. Roses, there's nothing like a rose, but just because it has the word rose at the end, you shouldn't mix the two. They're totally different.
Oh, they are different.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's why I wanted to do them in the same month, because I wanted people to understand that they are two separate fragrances. The odors are different. They come from a different place, and they're distilled differently. And tuberose is, a lot more versatile. When you smell something with tuberose in it, sometimes you know it's tuberose and sometimes you don't. With rose, it's harder to kind of disguise it. You know what I mean? If you have rose in there, you know it's there. You know, it's like when you smell chocolate in wine, you know, you can smell it all. I mean, I can always smell the chocolate in the wine,
Sure.
you know, things like that. So yeah, no, Tuberose is very cool. So I'm glad we chose this one.
Me too. Other things about tuberose, it's celebrated. Let me show us here. It's celebrated for its sensual, transformative power.
There you go.
We have more of that mystery that you mentioned.
Yeah.
It awakens the senses. It inspires confidence, and this is probably why they're not allowed to walk through the gardens. It attracts passion.
Yeah,
So
that's
she goes
I'm
for a walk.
Tuberose.
God only knows who she's gonna come back with, right?
Yeah.
That might be why. And it's used to enhance pleasure, to support emotional release, and to stimulate spiritual awakening through sensory delight. Wow. So it sounds like it might be almost what is that word? I think you mentioned it earlier. Not exhilarating,
Erotic?
but
Erotic?
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, you
sounds
can
like
consider it to be erotic. I mean, what I heard was, you know, rumor was that sometimes women used to grab some of the flowers and put them, you know, on their person, you know, or on their, you know, in their handbags and things like that to secretly attract the opposite sex to, you know,
What if he
to
finds
them.
it? Is it going to spoil things? If he's like,
Tramp. You're a tramp. No. But, you know, I think, you know, listen, women,
I
you
like
know,
her, but she has roses on her chest.
yes, how dare you have tuberose, but you know, put them in your hair, things like that,
Okay.
you know, to attract.
Yeah.
I love the old stories. They're quite fun to, you know, research.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really interesting. So very sensual, very exhilarating. This too, tuberose is also connected to the water element, so it's channeling sensuality, creativity, and emotional expression. It
Mhm.
nurtures joy and a sense of luxury. So you would say it's more luxurious than rose, Diane?
I don't know if I would say luxurious. I mean, rose is very luxurious, but tuberose is a little more elite, I would say, a little more special, if I had to.
I see.
You know, a little less common. How's that?
Okay.
I'll put it that way.
I like that. Okay, it's less common, and it's associated with Lakshmi, Lak Lakshmi, the Hindu goddess of abundance and beauty. Lakshmi reflects tuberose's luxurious, prosperous, and pleasure-enhancing qualities. So it also is good for prosperity, apparently.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds good. I don't think I've ever smelt it. They would never have a guy's fragrance as tuberose, right? Probably not.
Nope. Sorry.
I'll deal. I'm gonna be making my own with the rose and the
Okay,
leather
you'll be
anyway.
getting that
So
rose going, and yeah,
exactly,
lab
we'll
going.
see how it goes.
Yeah.
And our third fragrance is vanilla. This is certainly one of my favorite fragrances. It smells amazing. What can you talk to us about
Yeah,
vanilla?
so it's funny because I think this particular sign, the three that we've chosen, are all very sensual notes. I would say they represent a lot of sensuality. The rose, of course, does, but vanilla more than anything. I actually pulled some for you to see. You can see the beans here, and what happens is that, you know, you slit them open and the little seeds come out. And let me tell you, when you pull these seeds out and you put them in whatever you want to put them in, that aroma stays with you. So there have been cookbooks that are all vanilla based. This month there happens to be a day called International Vanilla Day.
Oh,
And I was invited to a very interesting event in New York City at a fragrance house, and they did they did room after room all about the ways of using vanilla from Madagascar, and they have a lot of of plants over there, Madagascar plants, and that's all they do is distill the vanilla and send it over. And of course, you can use it in cooking. It's very versatile in cooking. You can use it in alcoholic beverages. You can use it in perfume. It's a very, very versatile note. And I had a great time learning more and more about vanilla. and all the ways that you can use it. But as I said before, vanilla is the most popular with men. If you put it in a fragrance, it's so Shalimar, for example. Okay, Shalimar is one of the classics, and that's a vanilla fragrance. Has vanilla in it. It's good because it's as I said, it's sensual. It can be mixed with many other things, and it's also very cozy, comfortable, but yet it has a little bit of spiciness to it, which is nice. And again, it reminds you of cooking and baking and things like that. And that gourmand smell is very comforting to men because it reminds them of mom and home and cooking, and it gives them a nice warm feeling. And I think in your brain, that's what you resonate with. So vanilla is, to me, it's a workhorse of notes.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Now, were you making a joke before about wearing vanilla extract? Like, could somebody
No, I'm not.
You actually could put vanilla extract on?
Sure, absolutely. Don't put a lot on, but if you're desperate for something to wear and you want to, if you're going out with someone and you want to shake it up a little, the vanilla extract might work. I mean, it's intense, but if you don't have anything else to wear, try it.
Okay. Well, that's really good to know. So I know you said men love vanilla, meaning they love smelling it on women. However, would a man ever wear vanilla? Probably not, correct?
I would say not. I mean, I don't know. There could be some vanilla in fragrances. I'm not really sure. I'd have to check. Maybe Tom Ford. He might have done one. I think it might have been in our fragrance scopes we just did. Again, you can, if you mix it with other things.
Like cherry vanilla.
Yeah.
I could see cherry vanilla being good for men.
Yeah.
That actually
and it's all about the gourmand notes, that are versatile. So yeah. Cherry vanilla.
Right on. Now, vanilla it sounds like the way you're describing it, it'd be better for winter because it's so cozy.
Yeah, it's a little heavier. I wouldn't. I mean, again, like Shalimar is a very heavy fragrance. And when you have it on, everybody knows it's Shalimar pretty much. Yeah. You can know it's very distinctive. It's not a light fragrance. It's not vanilla. When you put it on, it stays with you. It doesn't go through any kind of transitional change. Whereas with the citrus and things like that, you can make them a little more bubbly and iridescent and like they have like a cleanness to it. Vanilla is a little heavy. You picture yellow suedes, things like that. It's heavier.
It's heavier. But there must be some fragrances in which it's a note, but it's not. Or does it take it over?
It can.
It can. Okay, so you gotta be careful.
You have to be careful.
You gotta be careful with vanilla. And some interesting facts about vanilla. It's treasured, as Diane says, for its comforting, soothing energy. It promotes relaxation, invites abundance, and fosters feelings of safety and warmth. Exactly what you said. Vanilla enhances emotional healing, attracts love, and supports manifesting desires with gentleness and ease. I love that.
Sometimes if you go to a spa and you want, and there's, they have a lot of that eucalyptus and all of those kinds of scents, but oh God, somebody's at my door.
Okay.
Sorry.
No worries. We'll just pause.
Okay.
Perfect. So it is associated with water, and it brings calming, nurturing energy, as you said, supporting emotional healing. Oh, listen to this, sweet attraction. I like that. Not just attraction, Diane, sweet attraction. Right.
Yeah.
And the manifestation of heartfelt desires, which makes a lot of sense because if you feel like comfortable and at home, then you're going to be more likely to draw things to you.
Yeah. I think, I was at a meditation, spa once, and the vanilla was everywhere.
Yeah.
It was, they had it in, kind of coming through the vents, and they had, the oils everywhere and the infusers and things like that. And it was very calming, vanilla.
It is calming. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really calming. And I believe it's the #1 ice cream still.
Ah, yes, it is. America's favorite is not chocolate; it's vanilla.
I know, which that surprises me because it's so like out of all the options now with ice cream, like
Yeah,
so
but
many things.
it goes with more things too. I mean, vanilla ice cream with cake, vanilla ice cream with waffles, vanilla
Apple
ice cream,
pie,
apple pie, not chocolate, vanilla.
never chocolate with apple pie. Yeah, no, that's a
Thank
fair point. And it's associated with the goddess Hathor, an Egyptian goddess apparently of love, joy, and pleasure. Hathor embodies the nurturing, sweet, and comforting essence of vanilla, enhancing happiness and loving connections. So that makes perfect sense. I
Mhm.
think that, as you said, it's not only good to wear, but it also is really good for making your place smell nice.
Yeah, I think it's a good environmental fragrance too
I
for
think
your
so,
home. Yeah.
for sure. So we did it. We went through 3 fragrances that we're going to advise you for Taurus season. You can, of course, check out FragranceScopes, my website, psychicsun.com/FragranceScopes. If you are looking for a fragrance scope consultation with me and Diane, that'll be a lot of fun, and it will be a game changer. You'll get fragrances that are aligned with your goals, and you'll smell really, really nice afterwards. And also, you can check out Perfumist.fr. Any of the notes that we mentioned today, or any notes that you're interested in, just get on your phone and go to Perfumist.fr, and you can find a note. Just type in a note that you like, and you'll get a whole bunch of fragrance options, and you'll see reviews, and then you'll be able to get your next fragrance. So that'll be great. Well,
Yep.
Diane, this is so cool getting to do this again with you. I think that we've set up our audience for Taurus season. They're going to smell really, really nice.
These three notes though are killer. I
Yeah.
think they're absolutely wonderful. So you can't go wrong with
I don't
these.
think so. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. Awesome. Oh, we'll catch our written fragrance scopes. Those are going to be written. They're going to be linked for you in the description below, and all of the other links that we spoke about today as well. So thank you, Diane, and
My pleasure.
thank you all for watching. And we'll see you next time. We'll see you next month for Gemini season. Bye.
Bye.